Is there a secret to staying healthy and physically fit as you get older? Find out next on Lakeshore Focus.
Indiana University Northwest School of Business and Economics is the only public institution in the region to hold AACSB International accreditation. The program provides undergraduate business education with a balanced curricula based in leadership, teamwork, and technology. IUN serves both traditional and non-traditional commuter students in a diverse urban environment. Learn more at iun.edu/business.
Welcome again to Lakeshore Focus, a weekly show highlighting the key issues, important events, and interesting people in our region. I'm Keith Kirkpatrick. As we get older, we can learn how to maintain a healthy lifestyle and how to adapt our fitness regimes as we age. Most of us know throughout our lives that healthy eating and exercise are extremely important. But what happens when you approach or reach those senior years? How can you maximize your wellness with the ways your body has aged? To share more on this subject, we are joined by Jane Bogordos, who is the exercise physiologist and supervisor of wellness for Franciscan Omni Health and Fitness. I think you may win the prize, Jane, for the longest intro there. And Richard Cribari, who is the general manager for Djuric Trucking. So, you guys are so typical from Northwest Indiana with challenging names, aren't you?
Yes.
We sure are.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us.
You fit right in. So
Good.
So we're going to talk a little bit about health and wellness. You know, it's kind of interesting because I try to encourage people to give feedback on this show. And Richard, you're a great example of somebody actually who called me up or reached out to me and said, hey, I have an interesting topic. How'd that come about?
Well, it come about because I was referred by a friend. I was told to contact you, and actually I did some work as a driver wellness driver's advocate. I'm a lifelong wellness advocate for drivers. I got a passion for truck drivers or anybody that's really sedentary.
So are you a bit of a wellness nut?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I am. And Jane could speak for that.
So Jane, your relationship here is you work with him.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. Richard wanted to make some changes. He had a fitness assessment at Omni and found out his numbers weren't exactly as he wanted them to be. So he met with one of my personal trainers and started working with them, learning, educating. It's about education. We want them to learn how to exercise smart. And did a fantastic job training with the trainer, really learned a lot and just kept going on and on and on, and has had multiple fitness assessments since then. His numbers are improving. He's getting older, but his health and his functional age has really gone down. He's really improved tremendously.
I want to get back to these numbers in a minute. How old are you, Richard?
I'll be 73 years old. 73 years young, I like to say.
There you go.
Yeah,
so,
right.
So 73.
Yeah.
So when you talk about his numbers weren't quite where he wanted them to be, what numbers are you talking about?
So everything from his resting heart rate, blood pressure, body fat percentage, lean muscle tissue. We try to separate. That's a lot. Too many people focus on the scale instead of breaking down the numbers. So we analyzed his circumference measurements, flexibility, grip strength, his resting and recovery heart rates.
So when you heard all these numbers, was there one or two of those numbers that just kind of disturbed you or jumped out at you? You're like, really?
Well, it was the fat content.
Okay.
And when I start seeing the results, how I turned the fat to lean muscle, and I think over about 9 months, I turned like 20 pounds of, from fat to lean muscle. I mean, that really encouraged me. When I start seeing changes like that, I thought that anything was possible. But, it's the whole process. They teach you how to eat properly. I was a cardiovascular nut. I would ride a bike for many hours, but I didn't get the kind of results that I needed. But, under Jane's tutelage, It really helped me because I started lifting weights. I got a weight program that I follow all the time. And that incorporated what I was doing, helped me lose the weight.
So part of this is, I mean, I think a lot of people believe you get to be 70-some years old.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do much to kind of reshape your body, but you're saying
Not true.
not true.
Not true.
Particularly when I hear 20 pounds
Oh, yeah.
converted from fat. I mean, how does that happen?
So he started to do, a lot of it was with the strength training. So many people do cardiovascular work. They'll
Right.
walk, they'll ride a bike, et cetera, but a lot of, especially seniors, don't touch the weights. So our muscle is our metabolism, and that's what burns our calories. So we may age and keep the same scale weight, but as our muscles don't get used, they get smaller and they're not as strong. So we may be the same scale weight, our body fat percentage is going up, our muscle mass is going down, so you don't really see those scale differences. That's why we like to assess, dig in a little bit deeper.
When does
So
that really start for people? I mean, when
any age.
I mean, that kind of,
Usually we see it starting in our 30s, et cetera.
Okay.
When people, when we're in our teens and our 20s, we're very active, we're moving around more, we're more physical. As we get older and we're more sedentary with our work or taking care of the kids, et cetera, our muscle mass starts to diminish, and we may continue to be eating all of our same foods, et cetera. The body fat increases, and your metabolism actually slows down as you age.
so these changes really start early. So even though we're talking about seniors, this is for really relevant to everybody.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
let me talk a little bit about, Richard probably is not the oldest person you're working with, I
Nope.
bet, right? So who are, not who, but how old are some of the oldest ones you're working
We
with or
have
you see there at the club?
80-some, 90-year-old men and women seniors that come in and they're there 5, 6, 7 days a week, cardiovascular work, doing strength training, going into the exercise classes, very physical, very, very fit seniors.
So Richard, when you're there, do you
Yeah.
think that you could outpace some of the younger ones?
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt.
So
because
do you
I-
try every once in a while just
Oh,
to
yeah,
make them
yeah.
look bad?
Oh, yeah, because I got that discipline, It's something I learned a long time ago. I ran 4 marathons when I was younger, up to 50 years old. And in fact, this weekend I'll be in a 5K race. I was in a 5K race for Omni, and it's just a dedication. I mean, I believe I could do anything somebody young could do.
Well, where did you get that dedication? Where'd that come from?
Well, I was raised on the southeast side of Chicago, and there was a lot of competitiveness. I was from an area that was kind of poor, and we all, we didn't have a lot of things like some people. We had to work for them, and I learned at an early age to work hard.
And so you operate this trucking company, and you had talked about that probably one of the most sedentary jobs can turn into often as a truck driver.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Well, what I'm trying to do right now is work with some of them individually. And I do have some. In fact, I got a website that's just, being put together by Hammond Innovation Center. But I'm trying to get a lot of feedback because I'm giving people, as you pick up on the website, it tells, eating properly and exercise and being a sedentary job. You got that time when they're unloading your truck or loading your truck, walk around, do something. Get active,
Rather than just sit there in
Right,
the cab,
right,
right?
Do
So-
some squats when you're pre-tripping or post-tripping, which is, DOT, maintains that you must do that each day.
Do you think
Well,
you're having an effect on any of these people?
Yes, I'm seeing some of them. They're making testimonies right now to the effects that I've had on them, and that's inspired me.
Yeah.
I want to do it more and more. I was on the Rolling Strong Network, and they reached out to people across the country. I want to be a difference.
Well, good. So Jane, what other kinds of jobs really seem to, jobs that people seem to fall kind of into that sedentary? It's really easy to be sedentary in certain kinds of jobs.
We get approached by a lot of our Franciscan Alliance employees. That are sitting at a desk all day. They're business people, so they don't get up, they don't move around very much. So we just encourage them to get your 10,000 steps in a day, get up and take breaks every 20 minutes or so. And it not only affects their fitness levels, but it does affect your health. I mean, they're showing studies that if you sit more than 6 or 7 hours a day, sitting is the new smoking, they're saying.
Wow. So where does this 10,000 step thing come from? Because if
American
anybody's
Heart
got their
Association.
phones, all tell you that now, right?
American Heart
Yeah.
Association set that precedence, and that's a minimum. So many people that you see that work in industry or in hospitals or wherever that are moving around, they get those steps. But I try to encourage them to go beyond that, because if they're looking for a goal of weight loss or improving their cardiovascular strength or fitness, their bodies are already used to that if they've been doing that for many years, so they need to go a little bit above that as well.
So when I look at my phone and my pedometer says I've only got 5,000 steps in a day, I'm supposed to go walking? Is that what you're telling
Yeah,
me?
absolutely. That's what's nice about the technology with Fitbit and the apps on the smartphones, et cetera. It can encourage you if you're 3/4 through your day and you still have to get 2,000 more steps, take a walk after dinner. Take the dog for a walk. Go out and, walk through the garden, whatever. Just, it's a nice motivator to try to get you to get to those goals.
So Richard,
Yes.
you almost make this sound like it's great fun and you're really challenged by it. Is there part of it that's kind of hard for you?
It really isn't. I look at the pleasure because the end result is the way I feel and the way I look. I get compliments on a regular basis, by her staff and, different people that see me, people 10 years younger. I got friends that own businesses. They've seen the way I've looked and I've encouraged them to work out. They just can't believe that it's possible. And really, in the beginning, I didn't realize it was possible.
So what do you say to the person who says, well, yeah, but you enjoy it and you were athletic when you were young and
Yeah.
you're just in love with this thing. I'm not.
Yeah.
What do you say to that person?
I say try something because, again, you will feel good. You're going to feel better than being sedentary, just sitting there, nothing moving.
Do something.
Do something.
Right.
I'm not saying everybody has to do what I do, but do something. Walk.
Is there
Carry
something,
things.
Is there something, Jane, that you tend to use to kind of motivate those people who particularly, kind of get into it and get out or just kind of start or can't even get started? What do you say to them?
I
What do
try
you
to
do?
just kind of have a little interview with them first to see what they like, because so many people think that they have to do this or they have to do that, and if it's not something that's fun for them, they're certainly not going to stick with it. So I'll ask them, do you like to dance? Do you like to ride your bike? Do you like to swim? Do you like to go to the park and walk? And find ways that you can incorporate those things that are fun to them and make that play instead of exercise.
So can you give us an example of maybe one of the weird ones or odd ones where you've said okay, I can figure out how to make this work for you?
One of the girls that I worked with before, she really loved to dance. Dancing was her thing. Loved to dance, loved to go dancing. Her husband, when he was still alive, took her dancing quite a bit. Well, over the years, she just didn't go anymore. So I said, why don't you try this? In your home, close the shades, no one has to see you, and put on your favorite music and just dance a little. Put a timer on, do it for 10 minutes. Get up between the commercials and dance. And saw her months later at a health fair, and I said, you really look good. You've been really, and she said, I've been dancing. I've been dancing, and when I have my grandchildren over, we dance together, and again, it's fun. It's not exercise to her, and that's what you got to try to reach and get.
So even people like in gardening or something, you could
Yes.
work a routine into just bending down more,
There
just
you go.
doing things a
Yep.
little bit differently.
Using the
Ex-
rakes,
e-
using the hose, all that is using your
exactly.
muscles.
So at your age, Richard,
Right.
too, what have you experienced? Have you experienced oh my gosh, I get cramps easy, or I've hurt myself, or strained something?
No, I
I think
don't.
a lot of people are concerned about that because
Right.
they go out and they work in their yard to do things, and they
Yeah.
go, oh my gosh, I've just hurt my back.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I go for weekly massages. I have someone at the club that massages me, a gentleman there that's been there for about 30 years, and he's also a trainer. He used to be a strength coach for the Bulls, and what he does, he teaches me how to stretch. Stretching is very important to keep the elasticity of your muscles. And that's what helps me walk like a young man, feel like a young person, because it just shows that you feel a lot better because you're taking precautionary measures. That's what you're doing.
So he's unusual, probably to some extent.
Somewhat.
So let me ask you, Jane, how about some of the examples of what people are doing his age that where they get in trouble, where they hurt themselves because they didn't do something? What's common?
What's great about Rich and a little bit unique is that he really educated. He used a trainer when he first was starting out, learning how to use the weights, learning how to lift properly, bend, and that does transition into your daily lives. So when we have folks that, it's great. They're all excited. They first come in. When you first want to start an exercise program, you go a little bit harder and you get sore and you get tight. We try to, our staff tries to circulate and help people and make sure that when they first come in, that they're put on an orientation so they can learn how to exercise safely, and again, use the equipment right, et cetera, and hopefully that will transition into their daily activities so that they will start off a little slower, get the results a little bit slower, and not have as many issues or problems or soreness or cramps, any of that stuff.
I would assume one of the hesitancies for people of going in and linking up with a trainer is embarrassment. That, like, I'm embarrassed that I'm overweight or I'm out of shape or
Sure.
I can't do anything, and that the trainer's going to see all these things and I'm just going to feel terrible about it. Is that kind of, do you hear that or see that in people?
Sometimes, yes, but what's nice is we have a lot of, if you've ever been into Omni, it's a very big facility. We've got a lot of private areas, private rooms, so if the trainers really do a good job of assessing, have an initial interview with them and listening to their concerns, and if they are nervous about being in more of the public areas, then they'll take them into one of our private studios, and again, just reiterating to them that this is a very safe environment and no judgment, and they want them to feel comfortable and feel confident.
What caused you to go and have all the vitals and all the numbers done? I mean, what was the motivating circumstance that?
I'll tell you a funny story. I was just doing cardio work, okay? And I was kind of slouched over a bicycle that I was riding in the club. And a guy mentioned to me, one of my members who's a good friend, and I guess he didn't mean any harm, but his thing was, Richie, for a guy that works out so much, look at the pouch you got on you, okay? That embarrassed the hell out of me. I thought, geez, I'm just doing cardio work. I'm not making any results.
So what'd you do then?
So I got with Jane, and I got a trainer, and then the trainer showed me, and then I started seeing results.
So I want to ask you exactly.
Yeah.
So you walked over to Jane, and what did you say?
Well, I felt embarrassed because he was right. I was working out a lot, 5 days a week. I wasn't losing any weight. I was disappointed in myself because I was an ex-athlete. I ran marathons, and I looked at myself and I thought, wow, this isn't good. But when I hired a trainer, everything changed. It's like I'd like to sell everybody to get a trainer if you're stalemated, because it's like running a course without a map.
So Jane, you see all these people come in, and that probably, that point of being embarrassed, I mean, for a lot of people, it's like, my gut's too big, my butt's too wide, I mean, just my arms are sagging or whatever. What do you say when they come in and they are trying to deal with that embarrassment?
I remember the day, we had a conversation, and I said, you know what, Rich, let's not look at the big picture right now. I said, let's get you a fitness assessment, and I told them exactly what was going to happen, what we were going to do, explain everything, tell them why that we were going to do, and that's a lot of the fear is the unknown. So, I want to make sure that everybody that comes through knows why we're doing everything. There's a reason for it, so that we can help him and get him to his goals, whatever they may be. So he was very receptive and open to any of the suggestions that we had for him, and he just took the ball running from there and never looked back. It was fantastic.
Do you say, don't worry about it? A lot of people are in the same situation you are. So, and particularly in this country, we have some huge problems with people not being fit.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I think a lot of people don't walk into our building. They say, I have to lose 20 pounds before I go join the gym. And once they come in and see that it's very non-judgmental, it's very family-friendly, it's one of the best things I love about Omni is that it's a family. And a lot of our members, especially the seniors that come in, they all come at the same time. And there's bonds and friendships that have been made and will never be broken. and they get together afterwards and, you know, go out for a lunch or a breakfast and have some coffee, and the social aspect of that and is amazing.
So we've been talking about exercise a lot, but so was there any eating habit you changed? What were your eating habits?
Drastically. I made a big improvement, okay? Omni has a program once a month, every Tuesday. They have a cardiac nurse comes in with Jane, and they teach you about eating.
So tell me a couple things you stopped eating and a couple things you maybe started
bread,
eating.
mostly bread. I seen bread wasn't, I very rarely eat any bread. I supplement it with, I eat almonds and walnuts. I just target all the good stuff. On my desk all the time, I'll have some carrots, some celery.
So part of it was just learning that. Is there a quick recommendation you make to people, just kind of like, hey, stop eating this and start eating this?
Stop eating just a lot of the processed food. We teach them to try to read the labels and see. There's a lot, you know, we just, especially people that are in a hurry, you just eat what's quick to you. Definitely we don't, as a society, we do not eat enough fresh vegetables and fruits. We need to back away on the processed stuff and put more of the fresh vegetables and fruits in your system, because that's where all your nutrients and vitamins are coming from, and antioxidants for, you know, cancer is very prevalent in this area. So we just try to go back to nature.
Okay. So we're down toward the end here, and if there was like one message that you felt like you wish people would really understand about this, what would that message be? What do you wish people understood?
To take better care of yourself, to have a little more pride in yourself, and want to feel, you know, feel the best you could, because we got a society that's very sick. I mean, look at our area.
Right.
Northwest Indiana.
I think that's a great message.
Yeah.
Have some pride.
Yeah.
So
My
what's your
message would be that there is no, you said this earlier, there is no age limit on improving your health. Anybody at any age can improve their cardiovascular fitness, their strength. One of the two areas that I think seniors don't work on is strength and balance. You know, we're more at risk for falls. So you can start wherever you're at now. Find out, seek someone that knows and has knowledge to help you, and you can make improvements on your health. And a year from now, my message to everybody is we're going to be a year older, but you can certainly be a year healthier.
So the next time I'm in the bathroom drying off, I got to really think about that almost falling over thing, right? A little
There you go.
All right. Thanks for both being on the show,
Thank you
and
for
the
having
message
us.
you had, I think, is real important for our audience to hear.
It's our
So
pleasure.
Thank you.
thank you for being here.
Thank you.
There are a lot of interesting things said about aging today. If I had known I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself. Or, kids today will probably live to be 100. How about today's 60s is yesterday's 50s? Our perceptions and the reality of aging are changing. People do live longer and they are more active. Maybe they should take care of themselves better. Some people are doing just that. They watch what they eat, exercise more regularly, do more walking, and generally stay busy, both mind and body. This lifestyle is seen in magazines, the internet, advertising, and on television. Yet we are also informed that the population of this country is getting fatter, lazier, and less healthy overall. How can both exist? Similar to our economic and educational gaps, where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, while the educated get the better paying jobs and those without schooling remain unemployed, we see the healthy stay healthier and the unhealthy get worse. It's a startling and unsettling notion to realize that these two polarities exist. Those with means can join that health club, buy that exercise bike, spend more on nutritious foods, and go for long walks on the beach in Mexico. Meantime, those with limited resources do not have those amenities. But who said you need money to go for a walk? An old bike often works as well as a new one. It doesn't take much to grow a small garden, and push-ups don't cost a cent. Everyone should take a little more time to understand what it takes to live a healthy lifestyle. Make incremental changes, take baby steps. Park a little farther from the door at the mall, Order 1 scoop of ice cream instead of 2. Put a little less on your plate. And maybe you should drop down and give me just 5. It's a start. Thanks for watching our show. Did we make you think about health in a different way? Send your thoughts and feedback to us through email. Our address and website are listed on your screen. If you saw this show and can think of someone else who would enjoy it, tell them how they can access past episodes of Lakeshore Focus at www.lakeshorepublicmedia.org. And they, too, can learn about being healthy. Join us next week for another Lakeshore Focus. Until then, I'm Keith Kirkpatrick saying, make a positive difference in our world today.
The Indiana University Northwest School of Business and Economics is the only public institution in the region to hold AACSB International Accreditation. The program provides undergraduate business education with a balanced curricula based in leadership, teamwork, and technology. IUN serves both traditional and non-traditional commuter students in a diverse urban environment. Learn more at iun.edu/business.